All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're peeling back the layers of a legend, going beyond the movie screen to find the real James Bond, the one straight from the pages of Ian Fleming's short stories For Your Eyes Only. So let me ask you, how well do you really know James Bond? You probably think you have a pretty good idea, but trust me, the answer is way more complicated than you think. The movie Bond? Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg. For decades, we've all been hooked on the cinematic 007, right? The super suave, seemingly invincible spy who always, and I mean always, saves the world with a perfect one-liner ready to go. You know the drill. We expect the laser watches, the villains hiding out in their ridiculous volcano layers, the martinis, shaken, of course, and the massive, world-saving explosions. That's the Bond who became a global icon. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? Not even close. When you actually crack open Ian Fleming's original books, you meet a completely different guy. Someone darker, more vulnerable, and honestly, so much more interesting. Okay, so first up, let's talk about how this Bond actually works. And you can just forget about the invisible cars and the exploding pens. Fleming's 007 relies on a much more powerful weapon, his brain. Take the story from A View to a Kill. This is not some over-the-top plot to take over the planet. No, it's a gritty, down-and-dirty espionage case. Bond is basically a detective here, using old-school observation to hunt down assassins hiding in plain sight. And this line just nails the whole vibe. It gives you chills, right? Fleming's world is cold, it's professional, and it is deadly serious. This is not a game. It is a brutal, brutal business. And that gritty reality, it just gets more intense in the story Risco. Bond gets sent to Italy to take down a drug trafficking ring. Sounds simple enough, doesn't it? Wrong. From the second he lands, he's thrown into a complete web of lies. As one of the characters tells him, in this business is much risico, and that just sums it all up. Risico means risk, and that's Bond's entire world. He's living on a razor's edge, where trusting the wrong person will absolutely get you killed. So Bond meets his contact, a guy named Christados, who points the finger at the supposed bad guy, a smuggler named Colombo. On the surface, it seems like a classic setup. Here's the good guy, there's the bad guy, go get him. But like I said, in Fleming's world, it is never that simple. The real question becomes, who's actually pulling the strings here? Bond can't just follow orders. He has to trust his gut, which is screaming that something is seriously wrong. And then, bam, the twist. His ally, Christados, he's the real villain, the mastermind who's been hiding in plain sight the whole time. And how does Bond survive? Not with a gadget. He survives because he listened to his instincts and actually teams up with the man he was supposed to kill. It's a world of shadows and shifting loyalties. This idea of a morally gray world gets pushed to the absolute limit in the title story itself. Here, the line between doing your job and getting personal revenge gets really, really blurry. The story starts with something just brutal. The Havelocks, who happen to be personal friends of M, Bond's boss, are ruthlessly murdered. So right from the get-go, this isn't just another mission for M. This is deeply personal. And you can bet it's personal for their daughter, Judy, too. She's not calling the cops or waiting around. Nope, she grabs a crossbow and goes on her own raw, brutal quest for vengeance. And this is where it all collides. On one side, you have the official mission, state-sanctioned justice. But on the other, you have this raw, powerful human emotion. You've got M's grief, Judy's burning rage, and Bond? He's stuck right in the middle, trying to figure out where the mission ends and pure revenge begins. But maybe the most surprising story in the whole collection is one with almost no spying, no action, no villains. Instead, it's this incredibly powerful look at the human cost of a world without empathy. So, Bond is just at a dinner party when he hears this phrase, a quantum of solace. And no, it's not a secret weapon, it's an idea. It's the minimal amount of kindness, that tiny spark of humanity that has to exist between people for any relationship to survive. He hears this heartbreaking story of a civil servant and his wife. Their love doesn't die in some spectacular explosion. It just withers, It's a slow, quiet decay of mutual respect. And once that quantum of solace is gone, all that's left is just cold cruelty. It's a profoundly sad and human story, and it reveals a side of Bond's world that is purely about emotion. So when you pull all these different threads together, what do you get? You get a James Bond who is so much more than the one-dimensional hero we see in the movies. This Bond, he operates in the gray areas. He feels emotional pain and struggles with the nasty reality of his job. And his number one asset? It's his gut feeling, not some fancy gadget. He's flawed. He's human. And that's what makes him so compelling. As Bond himself reflects, life's a devious business. There are no easy answers, no simple victories. That is the world Ian Fleming created, and it is a million miles away from the cinematic fantasy. And that leaves us with one final thought. Who's the more compelling hero? The guy who's perfect and can never lose? Or the one who has to fight his own doubts and his own moral failings just as much as he fights the bad guys? Perhaps the real James Bond is the one who reminds us what it means to be human in an inhuman world.